I'm Ian McGregor from McGregor & Associates, and this video provides a short summary of the content in Webinar Series B, which is the Sport Club and Travel Series. Webinar number 1 is Transportation Planning Essentials, followed by Travel Planning Tools using Google Docs, Sport Club Safety Officer Training, and lastly, Risk Management Training for Sport Club members. The first webinar in the series, Transportation Planning Essentials, is delivered by Ian McGregor, and the target group is all recreation administrators responsible for coordinating travel in the department. Typically that will be the sport club administrator, the outdoor rec specialist, or the youth camp director. The agenda focuses on establishing simple policies and procedures for travel. By focusing on the 4 key areas for transportation procedures: vehicle, driver, passenger, emergency response plan. We'll also talk about the importance of establishing non-negotiable travel procedures. The next part of the webinar focuses on implementation of simple policies and procedures, making these policies and procedures work by focusing on 2 key people: the trip administrator and the trip leader. Also focusing on the importance of a trip approval process. And lastly, the webinar will deliver some key travel resources and tools. The second webinar in this series is Travel Planning Tools using Google Docs, presented by Greg Henderson from the College of William and Mary. Again, the target group is the same: all recreation administrators within the recreation department responsible for travel. The agenda will focus on learning to use the forms which are available through Google Docs. You'll be able to download these forms and edit them, and they will become your forms for use on your website. The second part of the agenda focuses on applying the forms that you have now downloaded, and these forms focus on the approval process for events, drivers, and trips. You'll also be able to develop a weekend travel packet, and you'll also be able to merge data into specific reports. Lastly, the agenda will look at bells and whistles. Those are some additional ways which you can use to event unique event reports and using data that can be used later on for assessment purposes. The next webinar in the series is Safety Officer Training, again presented by Greg Henderson. The target group are sport club administrators who are planning to implement a new or revamp a current program for sport club officer training. The agenda for this webinar focuses on 3 areas: the importance of safety officers and why they play a key role in sport club risk management, the 3 key components involved in safety officer training, that is, establishing requirements for safety officers, determining what knowledge they need to gain to fulfill these requirements, and then lastly, developing some kind of a certification program to recognize their ability to fulfill these requirements. The third step is developing a 3-step training program for safety officers. What does that look like? First of all, determining who are going to be the safety officers. Then a key element is the provision of knowledge. How are you going to provide the training to these safety officers through practical in-person training modules or self-guided online modules? And lastly, the training program will involve a certification aspect, providing proof of qualifications. The last webinar in this series, Back to Basics, describes risk management training for all sport club participants and is presented by Katie Hagan at the University of Maryland. Again, the target group here are sport club administrators who are planning to implement a risk management training program targeting specifically all sport club members. The agenda outlines the key differences between sport club officer training and sport club member training. The agenda focuses on a process that maximizes club member knowledge about specific topics and mandatory policies which must be communicated consistently. Lastly, the agenda will focus on using various educational training modules, including an online tool, to ensure that all club members are effectively reached in a consistent basis. For more information on all these webinars, go to www.sportrisk.com/webinars.